The Dallas Cowboys may have just fixed the one problem that kept this team from becoming what the rest of the NFL feared. Dak Prescott already has CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, and Javonte Williams around him. But this offseason, Dallas went after something much bigger. Quinnen Williams is locked in as the center of the defense. Rashawn Gary is coming off the edge. Caleb Downs arrives as one of the most exciting young defenders in the entire draft. Malachi Lawrence adds another dangerous pass rusher. Then Dallas added Von Miller, one of the greatest sack artists this league has ever seen. That is a lot of change in one offseason, but the scary part is that Dallas did not make these moves because the whole team was broken. They made them because one side of this roster was already good enough to win. And now the early signs are getting harder to ignore. Dallas has started the preseason at 2 wins and 0 losses, while players fighting for jobs are already making the roster decisions uncomfortable. Undrafted rookie Camden Brown exploded against Seattle, then came back with another strong performance against Arizona. Jayshon Barham has started showing why Dallas wanted more speed and flexibility at linebacker. Caleb Downs is being moved around the secondary because the coaching staff keeps finding ways to use him. None of this guarantees what happens when the real games begin, but that is exactly what makes this team so interesting. The Cowboys have not even shown the full version of this defense yet, and some of the newest pieces are already forcing people to pay attention. But there is a reason Dallas attacked the defense this hard, and it goes much deeper than adding famous names. One number from last season explains Jerry Jones spending money, moving draft picks, changing coaches, and rebuilding almost the entire defensive identity around Christian Parker. That number becomes even more shocking when you remember what Dak Prescott and the offense were already doing while all of this was going wrong. Because before we decide how dangerous these new Cowboys can become, we have to understand something first. Dallas already had an offense capable of putting serious pressure on the NFL, and the numbers behind Dak Prescott, George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, and Javonte Williams make that impossible to ignore. The record never showed how much pressure Dak Prescott was putting on defenses. He finished last season with 4,552 passing yards and 30 touchdown passes, while George Pickens turned into a major matchup problem with 1,429 receiving yards. Across from him, CeeDee Lamb cleared 1,077 yards, even after missing time. Dallas was not searching for a spark on offense. It already had one. The balance made that production harder to deal with. Javonte Williams gave Dallas 1,201 rushing yards and 11 rushing touchdowns, forcing defenses to respect the ground game instead of sitting back against Dak Prescott. The talent showed up in league recognition too. Dak Prescott, George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, Jake Ferguson, Tyler Smith, Quinnen Williams, Brandon Aubrey, and Cavante Turpin all earned Pro Bowl spots. 8 Cowboys were recognized, yet Dallas still watched the playoffs from home. That is where it gets strange. A team with that much offensive production should not need everything to go perfectly just to survive Sunday. Brian Schottenheimer had points, yards, stars, and answers. What he did not have was enough help when possessions changed hands. The offense kept scoring, but the margin for error stayed tiny because every empty drive felt dangerous. And when you compare what Dallas produced with what Dallas gave back, one number turns the entire season upside down. That number explains why the front office treated this defense like an emergency. Here is the number Dallas could not ignore. The Cowboys allowed 511 points in 17 games, a franchise record. They scored 471, yet still finished with a minus 40-point differential. The defense also produced only 6 interceptions. That meant fewer short fields, fewer momentum swings, and more pressure on every offensive mistake. The problem was not hidden anymore. It was sitting on the scoreboard. Look at how small the gap was. Cut only 3 points per game from what Dallas allowed, and roughly 51 points disappear over the season. Suddenly, that negative differential flips to the other side without asking the offense for anything extra. That is why the front office did not treat the defense like a small repair. They treated it like the reason the season slipped away, and one move late in the year showed that the right player could change the unit quickly. Dallas traded for Quinnen Williams, sending Mozzie Smith and major draft capital to the New York Jets. Before his arrival, the Cowboys were allowing about 143 rushing yards per game. After he joined them, that number dropped to around 105.8. Quinnen Williams also brought pressure from the middle in a very real way. That stretch did not fix everything, but it showed the front office exactly where to start. Once they saw what one interior force could change, the next decision became much bigger. Dallas began clearing the room. Dallas did not respond by making one or two changes. The front office started removing pieces from every level of the defense. Osa Odigizua went to the San Francisco 49ers for the 92nd pick in the draft. Solomon Thomas was sent to the Tennessee Titans. Jadeveon Clowney, who led Dallas with 8.5 sacks last season, entered free agency without a new Dallas deal. Dante Fowler Jr. landed with Seattle. None of those players needed to be blamed for what happened. Dallas chose a different structure. The linebacker room changed as sharply. Kenneth Murray, Jack Sanborn, and Logan Wilson were no longer part of the plan, while Donovan Wilson and Trevon Diggs also left the secondary picture. Maris Liufau remained, but his role shifted toward outside linebacker in the new front. That matters because this was not roster cleanup. Dallas was changing the type of bodies it wanted, the jobs those players would handle, and the way the defense would attack offenses from snap to snap. There was risk in all of it. Osa Odigizua was respected inside the building. Jadeveon Clowney had been productive. Kenneth Murray gave Dallas experience. Moving away from familiar players only works if the replacements fit better and perform quickly. That is the bet Jerry Jones made. The Cowboys were not saying the old group lacked talent. They were saying the next system needed different answers. And the key answer was not another player. It was the coach chosen to design everything. The rebuild became real on January 22nd, when Dallas hired Christian Parker to lead the defense. At 34 years old, he became the youngest defensive coordinator in Cowboys history. He arrived from Philadelphia after working with Vic Fangio, and his background is built around teaching defensive backs and shaping pass coverage. Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean developed into first-team All-Pro players under Christian Parker. Now he gets his first chance to call an NFL defense in Dallas. Christian Parker is not copying one old playbook. His base ideas come from a 3-4 front, but he stresses flexibility around his players. Dallas matched that vision with veterans. Rashawn Gary arrived from Green Bay for a future fourth-round pick after posting 7.5 sacks last season. Dee Winters came from San Francisco after recording 101 tackles in 2025. Jalen Thompson, P.J. Locke, Kobe Durant, Otito Ogbonnia, and Jonathan Bullard added experience across the defense. Then Dallas made its biggest financial statement. Quinnen Williams signed a 3-year extension worth $105.9 million, keeping the interior star under contract through 2030. That move told everyone what Christian Parker's defense will be built around: strength inside, pressure outside, and versatile players behind it. The veterans give Dallas a foundation, but the front office did not stop there. It used the draft to chase younger pieces who could grow inside this system, and the first name off that board changed everything. Dallas used the draft to make Christian Parker's defense younger without losing size. The first move was rookie Caleb Downs, taken 11th overall after Dallas moved up one spot. At Ohio State, he won the Jim Thorpe Award, the Lott Trophy, and Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. He can line up deep, in the slot, near the box, or even around linebacker depth. That flexibility is why Dallas treated him like more than a normal safety. Then came rookie Malachi Lawrence at pick 23. Dallas traded back, gained extra fourth-round picks, and landed a pass rusher it believed could grow quickly. His rookie contract is worth $20.22 million. In the third round, Dallas added rookie Jayshon Barham at pick 92. His power, speed, and ability to play on or off the ball give Christian Parker another movable piece instead of a player trapped in one role. The later picks kept following that idea. Rookie Drew Shelton brings tackle depth on offense. Rookie Devin Moore adds size at corner. Rookie LT Overton can move across the defensive front, and his strong camp has already pushed him into bigger conversations. Rookie Anthony Smith gives the receiver room vertical speed. Dallas did not draft 7 players to fill 7 empty boxes. It drafted traits that could create options. And when those young defenders are mixed with the veterans already in place, one question becomes impossible to avoid. Where does Von Miller fit into all of this? The Von Miller signing sounds huge, but Dallas does not need him to carry the defense. At 37, Von Miller is entering his 15th NFL season. Last year with Washington, he produced 9 sacks on only 420 defensive snaps. Dallas gave him a one-year deal worth $5.5 million, with incentives that can raise it to $7.5 million. That shows the role. He is here to attack moments, not absorb every snap, and still bring real pressure late in games too. That matters because Dallas already has younger rushers around him. Rashawn Gary brings veteran power outside. Donovan Izeruaku is entering his second season after finishing his first year with 40 tackles and 2 sacks. He is not a rookie anymore, and the Cowboys need the next step from him. DeMarvion Overshown is healthy after a difficult injury path, bringing speed back to the second level. Add Malachi Lawrence, and Christian Parker can keep changing who attacks. The real value of Von Miller may come from forcing offenses to think about another threat on passing downs. If Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark create trouble inside, the outside rushers should see cleaner chances. That is where this group can become dangerous without asking one player to rescue everyone else. But talent and depth only matter if a defense can stay controlled when emotions rise. Dallas learned that lesson the loud way in Oxnard, and what happened against New Orleans became the biggest warning of camp. The final test is not talent, it is control. Dallas learned that during the joint practice with New Orleans, when fights broke out and Brian Schottenheimer discussed ending the session early with Saints coach Kellen Moore, Donovan Izeruaku was sent off after an altercation, his second camp ejection. The NFL later fined both teams $500,000. Brian Schottenheimer wants physical football, but his message was clear: playing hard matters. Losing discipline can erase everything a good snap creates. There are smaller battles that matter too. Jadon Blue, now in his second NFL season, answered a rough opening preseason game by rushing for 75 yards on 15 carries against Arizona. Malik Davis keeps pushing for the backup running back job with steady work. On the offensive line, depth still has to settle before Week 1. Those decisions will not create headlines, but they decide whether a team survives injuries, protects leads, and avoids turning one weak spot into a problem. That is why I have Dallas reaching 10 wins and 7 losses. Not because every new defender will become a star, and not because August results guarantee anything. The reason is that this roster now has more ways to solve problems than it did a year ago. If Christian Parker turns aggression into discipline and gets his new pieces playing together, Dallas can change the conversation around this team fast. The names are impressive, the investment is serious. Now the proof has to arrive when the games finally count.